Said we're good to go, and we are talking about successfully preparing for and navigating an unforeseen challenges, the Senco story. So here we have our speaker to tell us the story. I think more than speaker, I would say these are narrators, amazing narrators telling us how they have taken this journey. We are talking about someone who's the fourth generation of Senco Gold and Diamonds. After completing his graduation from St. Xavier's College, Calcutta, and his management from IMIT, Ghaziabad, he plunged into family business in 2005. To take it to dizzying heights, he brought in strategy, contemporary thinking, which is hallmark of any modern business today. Under his stewardship, Senco Gold and Diamonds embarked on a path-breaking journey, which included setting up a strong identity in new, unknown shores. That journey continues unabated, even with more momentum, with his vision firmly set to make Senco Gold and Diamonds a 100-store retail jewelry chain by 2018. Ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it for the man himself, Mr. Unforeseen. Please join us up, Mr. Sen. All right. So we have the man who we known by colors, right? I call him that because his surname says so. You'd know when I read it. All right, then. Here we have, joining us as moderator, the gentleman who has spent around 3 decades plus in the jewelry industry, of which the first 13 years were with the Rosy Brew Group, owned Intergold. From handling international sales of Japan in Sips to setting up the country's first platinum jewelry factory, later moving out to set up Intergold in retail, which is now Aura, and then Hammer Plus Jewelry for wholesale domestic distribution. He has forayed across all the facets of the industry. This experience is what made good his stand to start News, a coaching and consulting firm in jewelry retail. The jewelry evangelist, we call him, and in his new identity for speaking on thought, leadership, and in the jewelry industry. Ladies and gentlemen, founder for the Jewelry Evangelist, Mr. Naveen Sadrangani. Now over to you and to take our session from here. Yes, you can.
Yeah. Hello everybody. She's already introduced me. मैं बात हिंदी और इंग्लिश से मिक्स में करूँगा तो सब लोग बराबर समझ पाएंगे. Is that fine? Should I talk more of English? What do you prefer? Whatever, okay. So the top person says whatever comes naturally, do that. So I'll listen to the top person and you become the second top person now, okay? So I'm going to invite Suvankar after about 5 minutes. I just want to set the context of this talk, okay? Can I have the presentation, please? This is what my personal belief is. She's already introduced me, Naveen Sadrangani. I have been around for about 3 decades. This is what I've always believed, okay? And I put this up right here first because the story that the leader over here, Suvankar, is going to talk about is a story about passion. It's a story about perseverance. It's a story about pride. Passion first. So retail में successful होने के लिए आपको retail का अगर passion नहीं होएगा ना, you can't go much further, okay? Suvankar is, a living example who's been around of passion, pride, and perseverance. He's going to talk about all of that when he comes. Can I have the next slide, please? This is what we're going to be discussing. Go next, please. Just to make it a little interesting, one thing that I've noticed that we're all into mobile phones, and mobile phone, the technology we're using on is 5G. So ये जो हम chat या गुपशुप का conversation करेंगे, I've called it the 5G chat. Okay. First is Goshti, which is about storytelling. The second part of it is Gyan. While Suvankar is going to be talking to us, and we're going to be talking over here, there's going to be a lot of knowledge that we get right from how an IPO is built, to how a company is built, to how different challenges that he went through. All of these learnings or Gyan is what we're going to get through this conversation. Senco is a growth story. So we'll see a lot of growth happening. Gupshup, where you'll have a chance to ask him a few questions. So there'll be Gupshup both sides. And finally, the pride of being what you are is going to be visible. Okay? So without any further ado, let me ask Suvankar. Suvankar sir, why don't you come across and join me? So Senco is today 150 stores. Suvankar sir is fourth generation in the business. Unknown to many, I mean, the origin of Senco goes back, I think, to Dhaka, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, okay, so people don't know it. That's where Senco actually started. Uh, Today, the way things are going and the way Senco is growing from 150 stores and being an IPO company, Suvankar's personal goal is to bring about a culture of leadership within the company. Because companies grow, but retail में success के लिए, you need people. You have money, you have passion, you have all of that. But whatever has defined retail success for most brands all over the world beyond jewelry category, it's been people. So he's made his personal goal in the year 2024-25 to build people, and that's going to be through a culture of leadership. So we have the leader right here himself, and we'll see how he thinks, and we'll try and imbibe what we can in the business. Okay. So you want to say something before we start off?
Thank you, GJPC, for giving me the opportunity. And I think, through these platforms, if there is any way that, the knowledge, the experience, the various challenges and how you face the challenges and overcome them, and also most importantly is to share the philosophies and thought process on which, we are taking our company forward. So I guess that these initiatives will really, really help on both sides to connect, understand each other, and bring us together more. So I think, thanks, Nirav Bhai, for this thought, and I'm here just for you. Thank you. Thank you.
Before we talk, on the different things that we want to talk about with Suvankar, there's a small video I want to share. Okay, it's from the late Shankar Sen, Suvankar's father, and how he thought, and how he believed, and how he built his company, and how he thought what it takes to be successful in retail. There's a small video I want to play. You can just click there in the corner. You can sit. It'll come. Go back and you have to click that video. ये कॉर्नर में क्लिक करना. हाँ. Okay. Sound. पॉज करो, पॉज करो. It's a small 3-minute video. It shows you how Shankar Sen was as a person, as a leader, what he thought about, how did he raise his people, what was his thoughts with regards to retail, what did he feel that people in retail, what should they be passionate about. All of that he's put it together in a small 3-minute video. So this video was during COVID times when he was doing a session online, and he had created a small property called Pathshala.
या प्रोफेशनल कोई एक इंडिविजुअल करते हैं जिसको हमने पैसा देते हैं, फीस देते हैं, वो आके हमको बोल के जाता है. वो इंडस्ट्री से नहीं है, वो इंडस्ट्री के बाहर के हैं, लेकिन एक रिटेल का एक ज्ञान देते हैं. इंडस्ट्री के अंदर की आदमी है, इंडस्ट्री के अंदर की है, इनका अनुभव, इनका प्रतिष्ठा, इनका जिंदगी का संघर्ष सब इंडस्ट्री के अंदर से है. और ये सोचते हुए, ये उपलब्धि करते हुए इन्होंने इंडस्ट्री के लिए जो आज ये वेबिनार किया, हमको आशा है और कामना करता हूँ कि जो वेबिनार का रूप और ढांचा बदले और ये सारे देश के कोने कोने में. तो एक महाभारत है, इसका तो आदि पर अंत पर में जो है ये एक दिन में तो होगा नहीं, ये पद से पद चलेगा. और अध्याय से अध्याय में एक सफल एक जीविका निर्वाह करें, जिससे आपका गर्व हो, आपका परिवार का गर्व हो, और आपका सफलता के साथ आपका संस्था की सफलता जरिए एकदम इन्वॉल्व है. अगर आप सफल होंगे तो आपका संस्था भी सफल होगा. तो आपका ये सफल होने के लिए आपको क्या चाहिए? आप सफल होने के लिए आपको जो चाहिए, आपको स्वीकृति चाहिए, रिकॉग्निशन चाहिए. काम से प्यार करना सीखिए. आप जो भी काम कर रहे हैं, अब छोटे से हम लोग सब सुन रहे हैं कि कोई काम छोटा नहीं होता, सब काम अच्छा होता है। हकीकत में यही है, कोई काम छोटा नहीं। आप जो काम करने के लिए आए हैं वो काम को प्यार करना सीखें। हम लोग जिंदगी में प्यार किससे करते हैं? प्यार उसको करते हैं जिसको हम अपने पहचान में, जिसको साथ हम अपना पहचान करते हैं। अपने बच्चे को हमने प्यार क्यों करते हैं? क्योंकि उसके अंदर हम अपने को पहचानते हैं। और ये जो है, ये आत्मा को सुख देता है। आप जिसको प्यार करते हैं वो करने से आपको आत्मा को सुख मिलता है। तो अगर आपने काम को आपने प्यार किया तो उसके अंदर आप अपने को पहचानेंगे, आपको अस्तित्व को पहचानेंगे और अपने गर्व अनुभव करेंगे, और वो गर्व आपको आत्मा को सुख देगा। टू लव योर जॉब, एंड बाय लविंग योर जॉब you will get your own identity.
सभी लोग का फोकस हमारी तरफ है।
Okay, go to the next slide. So if I have to sum up, I talked about pride, I talked about passion. Okay, sorry. I talked about passion, I talked about pride, I talked about perseverance. Here he talked about pyar, which is love. So anything that you do with love, whatever your work is, whether you're doing retail or wholesale manufacturing, he believes that it will take all of that to succeed, and that is what has been driving the whole Senco family to where it is today. Okay, let's begin with a little bit of chat with Suvankar. Yeah. So Suvankar, very clearly you've got a very good grounding and very good values and very good orientation when you began. So can you tell us a little more about your early life, your family, your education, how it all began, how you got into the jewelry industry, whatever you think you want to share with us?
So I think that I should begin about the way the Senco begins, right? So Senco was started by my great grandfather in pre-partition India in Dhaka, and I have shared this story with. I keep sharing it with my team members, and I think a few of you might have heard about it during one of the functions. So my grandfather, a great grandfather, used to work in a jewelry shop in Dhaka. He was a son of a school principal, and in that jewelry shop, one day, one Persian trader, he had come down with a bag of Basrai pearls. And by mistake, he left the bag of pearls in the shop and went away. So he found it, and then he went up to his boss and said that, sir, ये आदमी ये bag छोड़ के चला गया. So he said, ठीक है, आप सावधान से रख दो, keep it in the locker, वो जब आएंगे तब उनको दे देना. So उस टाइम पे telephones और वो सारे चीज़ें तो था नहीं. So he kept it safely, and almost a year later, that person came back thinking that he had lost his bag of pearls. So he came and told that to his boss that, अरे आपको मालूम है वो bag of pearls कहाँ पे खो गया मालूम नहीं. So he said, नहीं ये तो मरन ने मिला था वो रख दिया. So that Persian trader was so happy that when my great grandfather went up to him and gave the bag of pearls, that he said that you keep the bag, you sell it, give me my capital, and the profit is yours. So that was the beginning of Senco, in which then my great-grandfather on a bicycle used to go from house to house, home to home, selling those pearls. And that is from where, based on integrity, honesty, transparency, that Senco begins. So this is the story which has been there in Dhaka. Now, during partition, again, in Dhaka, at that point of time, before partition, they kind of had a nice establishment, 3-4 showrooms, cinema halls. Last 2-3 months back, I just went to visit Bangladesh just to look around. So I actually went to that place called Tati Bazar, where all the karigars of Dhaka, they are based out of that place. And, and then there is a whole association of karigars. And then I was trying to find out that the building from which we all begin. But that was the journey. And then partition time, then they came to Calcutta. My grandfather, there were 5 brothers. They were all working together. Again, in Calcutta, the business got established. 1960s, they were all together. After the death of my great-grandfather and great-grandmother, unfortunately, the family decided to part ways. Now, here again, there is a very interesting part to the story that, all the various shops and all of it had to be divided and amongst the various brothers. My grandfather was the 4th brother. Now, there was a lottery that was supposed to be held, and my grandfather had a lot of regards for his elders. So, जो decide करेगा, जैसे करेगा. Now, lottery में जैसा allocation हो रहा था, unfortunately, the others did not agree to it. Everyone had an attachment कि मेरे को यही वाला showroom चाहिए, मेरे को यही वाला building चाहिए, like this, like that. So my grandfather got a little very, he was a very emotional person. He got very upset and disappointed with the whole situation and said that जिसको जो लेना है ले लो, मेरे को जो देना है दे देना. So he was given in Bow Bazaar, which is a small shop, maybe half the size of this or maybe smaller than that. And that was a Caprica warehouse. So he was being given the responsibility to take care of that particular shop. That shop was not even a jewelry shop, but he had the strength of the customers. He was the front-facing person. He knew the customers by name. The customers came to the shops looking for him. So that's the reason, at the age of 40, he had to start his life all over again with a shop which was not a jewelry shop, and he set it up. So from there, from one shop, he made 3 shops in 3 various markets. So this is where we realize, and this is what we understand, is the moment you have a strong relationship with your customers, no matter what kind of challenges you will be facing in your life, but by just having the strong bonds and relationship, you will be able to overcome, and you will be able to move forward. So that was one generation that had one set of struggle. The second generation have their second set of struggle. Then when my father joined business in the 1970s, it was a gold control period, and you could, he was a free-spirited man. He was he did commerce, but he also learned painting, and he was quite, quite a, I would say, artist in heart and in mind. So he was my grandfather got him married at the age of 23, so that he settles down, and then he started off with Bow Bazaar. But what he had in his in his self was the passion, the hunger to grow the business. And whatever 20 years till the 1991, 92. Gold control was there. He was managing the business, but he always had the dream that he has to do something with his life. So post 1992, when the liberalization happened, he started off expanding beyond 3 showrooms. He made the 4th and the 5th, and in the year 2000 was the game-changing period where he started off the franchisee model. Today we are very proudly talking about it, that what allowed us to enter into the smaller tier 2, 3, 4 towns and cities of the eastern part of the country, and now gradually all over the country, was the fact that we realized that you can grow only to that extent if you want to do it alone, but you need to take people along with you. So there were customers that used to come to our shop from the smaller towns and say that, "Arey, aap log ka idhar hai, wahan pe proper design nahi milta hai. Why don't you open a shop there?" But he was the only person. He had no brothers, so he was looking for a solution. And then when he came across, us time pe what he got the inspiration, from where? Ki 2000 mein there was this whole IT revolution happening, and he took a franchisee of certain software training programs. So usme, there were students who were doing all these training and all of that. So he saw that if they can do franchisee business, why can't we do franchisee business? So after Titan, I think we were the only family-owned jeweler who could expand and who could actually have a successful franchisee model under his guidance. So that went on, and then gradually for me, I finished my MBA from IMT Ghaziabad, did my economics honors before that from Xavier's, and my childhood was a very normal childhood. I was a kind of, till about class 9, 10, I was a shy kind of a person. But in all your journey, there are certain events that happens in your life that changes you. And if you ask me today as a leader, I believe that communication and communicating and talking to people, talking to your team is very critical. I remember of an event, when in class 9, suddenly my Bengali teacher called me up and said that, you should act. So acting. So then I became a part of the dramatics team. And I was a part of the school dramatics team, and I was, playing various roles of, maybe heroes of the plays, and also I was acting as women in the plays and all of that. So all of these kind of things broke my inhibition. The communication levels went up, and that kind of inspired me to, keep on moving forward. So, and then, after finishing class 12, there was a time when actually looking for education in the foreign country was a difficulty. As in, it wasn't possible at that point of time in the year 2001, 2. So, Xavier's, I got in, did economics because I was a science student. So as a science student, I was very serious about my studies. No matter what, I think that seeing my father having his own set of struggle, trying to do something every Sundays, he used to go setting up shops, doing work and various marketing activities. I saw that he can work hard. I have to work harder than him. So that's why I was trying to create my own identity. I was studying. I was trying to get good marks, looking for appreciation. And I will tell you, till I finished my MBA, my relationship with my father was a very formal relationship. He was very strict. I used to be scared to go and talk to him also, right? Because he was always like, "Arey, you haven't done this, you haven't done that kind of a thing." But the moment I finished my MBA education, then I could see that there was a change. And then the discussions were more, not those casual discussions, but discussions on how to grow the business. And over a period, over the dining table, we were a 100 crore company during the 2007-8 when I joined. So we said that, why can't we become a 1,000 crore company? And then he said, yes, why not? Let us all go for it. So then in the year 2007-8, 100 crore say, the moment you take a decision in your mind and you start thinking that this is what I need to achieve, I don't know how the world kind of conspires together to make you achieve that. And from that 100 crore, it became 250, 350, 400. The gold prices started going up. Stores opening happened. The bank loans started coming in. And by the time that we took our private equity, we were almost a 1,200 crore company. And if you look at it today, this financial year, we will be crossing 5,000 crores. So it's been a 30x plus growth in the last 15 years. And I think that, it was a teamwork, me, my father together, we could achieve what we achieved, and there's a lot more to achieve, for the same.
Very good. So you've told us honestly more than what my question was. My question was with relation to you. You told us everything about your father, about him being arty, and maybe that was that thoda bahut DNA jo bolte hain na. That's why your teacher said you should be doing acting, and you were able to carry all of that. So these aspects of being a leader in our industry, we are too serious about our work. Okay, we don't actually reflect on the finer aspects of our personality. Like I know someone who I'm doing some stuff for. At the age of 43, when he set up his business, he's just put up a new store. He's actually pursuing a passion to set up a band. So he's actually set up a band very professionally, which is going to sing music. There are 13-member band which he is heading, and he's actually gone serious and going to market himself as a band. So the whole idea is that अगर passion कोई चीज़ का है, फिर वो business का है और कुछ भी है ना, we have to keep both of them alive. That keeps the person in the life is what is coming across. Okay. Okay. One thing is that like you said, the first store was you came from Dhaka, Bangladesh. When do you think that as a family, okay, your father, you, when you said, when did you all realize, what, we have the potential to be a national brand? Because everybody wants to be that. Everybody wants to see, हाँ अभी 2 दुकान खोल रहे हैं, 4 दुकान खोल रहे हैं, बड़ा हम. Everybody has that dream. But कुछ realization होता है, okay, when you are doing business, we can do it. What is that trigger? What is that feeling? Because if there are other people who are aspiring to be national brands and they have 5 stores, 7 stores, 4 stores, what was the trigger for you and your family?
So, very honestly, if you ask me, the journey or the trigger of being a national brand wasn't the first goal. The first goal was to grow, right? You grow in whichever way possible. You grow, you have to focus on the low-hanging fruits. You have to see that you have built a brand or you're building the brand. How you can leverage the brand, how you can reach out to your customers, how you can ensure that you can, whatever money you will be investing wherever, you need to get your return on capital as fast as possible. Because for us, there was always, you have to work within constraints. Capital was limited. You have to build up on the capital. And that is why the franchisee model started in the year 2002-03, because there was a way in which someone else's capital could be used. The leveraging of the brand could happen, and then together we grow by sharing of profits. So this is what the thought was. So we started thinking that first, let us look at the surrounding markets. So in East India, getting into the district towns of Bengal was the first target. That we were not thinking of going all over the country at that point of time. Then we were saying that, chalo, surrounding states mein, which are the areas in which we can see. Then we saw that our core customer base was all over the country. So why not, step by step, we open our stores in certain parts of the country. But the thing was that every time, every step you take, it has to be measured in a manner that whatever capital you're investing, you should be getting a return on the capital within a particular time frame. And after 2007-8, when when the Lehman Brothers crisis happened, that was the time when the expansion in a big way began. Then 2012, we started looking for the private equity investment. Actually, 2008-9 was the time when we started dreaming about IPO. Just imagine.
That's the point.
The IPO happened in 2023, but the journey and the idea and the dream of having the IPO started in 2008. So with my coming in after MBA and with the vision and my passion of my father, we actually went and spoke to some bankers in 2007-8 that we want to
Hold
do an
the
IPO.
IP thought for later. There's a question on the
Yeah,
IPO.
I'm just saying. So when the private equity journey begins, then they could see the numbers, they could see the financials, and they saw that, okay, you have the core strength, you are in the manufacturing, you have a brand, you have a trust, you got into the processes and systems, there is a back-end ERP, there is an ability to scale up. So why are you restricting your thoughts to a certain areas only? Why not, have a much wider thought about it? Because your back-end is strong. The auditors are in place, and that's when the journey begins. 2014, we got our first private equity investment. That gave us the exposure that
How many stores were you at that time?
At that point of time, we were about 32 stores. Okay. Our turnover was about 1,400 crores, right, in 2013-14. And that's where we started expanding. After raising that fund, we said that, no, we have to focus on the low-hanging fruits. So UP, Bihar, and North India, those were the areas, one store in Bombay, we started opening. Because everything takes time. You have to do it strategically, put your hubs, put your place. There is a learning curve. You need to understand how the consumers are behaving. And then over a period of time, you keep on learning and implementing. So that's how it is. Then after 2014, we realized actually that the market is changing. So, and imagine in 2007-8 when I joined, the consumers were of different types. And in the last 10 years, we saw that the consumer is changing. The preferences towards brands are growing, higher and higher. People are looking for experiences. There is something happening. And then 2012, 13, 14, the change happened drastically. And that's when we realized the opportunity was there.
Okay. So till you what? It was only after 30 stores that the first outside money actually came in.
Yes.
Till 30 stores, you were running it with your own capital, with the stores
And
self-financing
debt and
themselves,
banks, yes.
making success stories, and that after that is when you actually got it.
Yes.
So this is also something very important because there are people in retail who put up 4 stores and 5 stores and think, we're going to get money in. Okay? From what you're saying, from an exemplary struggle, it was 30
See, the
stores.
point is the
running.
investor is going to look at a sustainable business model. They will look at why should a customer come and buy from you.
Correct.
There has to be a solid reason why. Then it is after a sustainable business model and a certain USP that you would have that will differentiate you from, say, your competition. That is when whoever, an external investor, will want to put in their money, and also as a promoter, they will judge you. They will see that yes, you've got the right intention, the right thoughts, and now based on these 3-4 decision criterias, they will decide to support you in your growth.
Okay. Something very, maybe very personal and very something which I'm sure you must have gone through, but 3 years back, you had to take the top seat. Okay, by default, you had to take the top seat. I'm sure at that time there must have been many challenges because, late Sri Shankar Sen, he left us during the COVID times. And by default, that was the stage when your IPO and everything was just in top gear and everything was there. And by default, someone has to take charge of the entire thing independently. It's not very easy when such a big responsibility comes on you unprecedented. Maybe you're not even ready for it. Maybe the people yet have not even started responding to you because there is somebody bigger than you already in the picture. I want you tell us about those kind of challenges which must have happened. Okay.
So, see, I'll tell you what, the challenges during the COVID period was faced by everyone. But I will tell you the secret
I'm talking specifically
in terms
about
of
your
the
taking
situation,
charge.
the sudden situation. But to face the challenge, I can just share with all of you because all of you are my extended family and friends, and maybe we've never had such conversations. But in 2019, I went to Brahma Kumaris. I went to Mount Abu you know, and there was a course and all of that, and there was, you know, I always have a very, you know, a spiritual kind bent of mind, and looking for, you know, searching for knowledge and truth and blah, blah, blah. So there I went through this whole process where, you know, we realized that whatever we are bodily, but there is an energy that is driving all of us. So that spiritual, I would say, enlightenment, it was there, you know, from, we all have read Gita and all of that, Upanishads, but, you know, when you are hearing and you're thinking and those few days of silence and all of that, you come back. I actually, you know, 2019, after that, I've started converting into full vegetarianism. So we are a Bengali, we are supposed to eat fish and all of that. So then, because I was more getting into the science of energy, I started having veg food more and more, and then now I'm almost, I would say, 99% veg, given up on you know, meat and fish and all of that. So now when that situation occurred, it was a shocking situation, and you are emotionally attached to a situation. There's no one really to help you, but it is this knowledge that kind of helped me, that you are faced with a situation, you need to look at it in two ways. Either you look at it negatively or look at it positively. The negative way of looking at it is that suddenly you are left alone to face situations.
Correct.
But the positive way of looking at it is that, see, destiny and you know, situations are supposed to happen, but I'm sure there is something good in this. So with this whole spiritual bent of mine, I realized that maybe my father is not physically present with me, but his energy, his blessings is there more. And maybe it is through some reason or the other. If you look at the movie Interstellar, I done that movie, I don't know, all of you have read that movie, and there is a scene in which behind the bookshelf, there is someone who's trying to tell you a message. And that book falls, right? So what it is in two parallel worlds. So if in that whole realization process that, yes, you know, maybe there is an energy that might guide you. So my father is not physically there, but there was a firm belief, and the belief is still very much there, that he's there with me spiritually and guiding in certain, whenever situation. So that helped me. And I kind of, if I look back then and I look back now, I am surprised myself that how did I go through the situation? You know, I knew that there were certain things to do, to talk to all my stakeholders, my vendors, my bankers, the employees. Everyone was in a position of confusion. Are, kya hoga? And the only thing that you can show is show your strength. So when you're faced with a challenge, there is this book called Anti-Fragile, right? When there are three kinds of people. One is you come under pressure, you break down. You come under pressure, you remain what it is. Or you come under pressure and you just inflate and come up with your best during pressure. So it was those kind of situations, and I had to show my strength, build a relationship, gain the confidence, tell them that no, everything is in place and control. And I guess that, you know, by the blessing of God and the blessing of my father, we went through. And that's how it is.
And the people were very supportive, your core team, which was there.
The core team was supportive because, you know, that time it is more driven by emotion than other things. So the vision, the work, whatever has been the learning, so immediately we implemented one project in which all the learnings, we said that whatever you have learned from him, list it down. And we have recorded it in a particular kind of a document. And we've shared it amongst all our team members. And we said that let us follow by those learnings, let us follow by those principles. I think that is what we can give in that time. And in that crisis time, you know, the employees were taken care of. So you're given an opportunity to show whether you are looking at things optimistically, positively, or negatively. And we've gone out of our way to, you know, take care of the people at that point of time, to take care of the vendors and on the bankers, stakeholders. So I think that all worked out. The positive thinking and optimistic approach. I think that is what is most important for any entrepreneur to move ahead.
Very good. So what you're saying is that beyond business, a little bit of spiritual intervention, which the leader goes through, does help in the business in a big way.
Yes.
Okay?
I think all business leaders should be spiritual. It is because we are actually doing the act of God. We are providing employment. Okay. We are being handed over with a lot of responsibilities. So many lives we are taking care of, right? And we are taking decisions, new projects, new initiatives, new stores, new products, everything. With, you know, you can, arey, kya hoga, ye itna investment kar raha hai, ye kar raha hai, wo kar raha hai. That's one way of looking at it and seeing the risk at each and every point. But the other way is that achha hi hoga. And that's what I have seen my father doing also, that in all situations, he has always stayed positive. Even if people have talked negative about it, you have to cut down the negativity and you have to think positive, because whatever you think, you will end up getting that only. So spirituality is a very, very important part, I think, as all entrepreneurs, we must practice.
Okay, very good. So, honestly, whatever Suvankar is saying about spirituality and following some strong beliefs, I've seen that a lot of things has been impacting the jewelry industry also. Okay, like Parth over here, who's sitting here, is from Samarth Group. I mean, there are 4,000 people who are doing diamond cutting and polishing. I personally went for a 1-week retreat over there, which was based on Manav Lakshya, which was part of Jeevan Vidya, where they taught you what is your role as a human being first. So you're supposed to think about yourself, your family, your surrounding environment. All of it is what we as humans are supposed to be doing. And that was one kind of a spiritual thing which everybody goes through. So more and more powerful groups in the jewelry industry are actually taking inspiration from some belief or some spiritual system, and that is working for them in the way they go forward.
Faith is the
True.
most important.
So like they say, faith is more than the world sees, and faith survives the world's disease.
Right.
Okay. Going further, I mean, just at the last IHJS when we were in Bombay, I was part of the IPO celebration that you had at Jio. Okay. Now, I mean, you've successfully done your IPO and you've come out, with flying colors. But a lot of other people are in this, in this. I won't call it a dream, but they're in the process of, I want to start an IPO. Any kind of tips or any kind of, journey sharing that you want to do for people who are retailers having, a few stores or being regional brands in some part of the country, and they are also thinking IPO.
Right.
So with respect to that, anything that you
So,
want to share?
so 2-3 things, and I've been telling that to people also in whichever ways. That one learning was, see, when I went into the process, so 2018 was the first attempt of our IPO. 2018, after 4-5 years of taking money from the private equity. Unfortunately, at that point of time, the industry was going through a lot of challenges, and the investors had lost their faith on the industry. So we said that, we were not getting enough traction, so we had to scrap the plan after almost a year of planning. Okay. So that was one learning that, never give up. If you believe and you really want something, so we could have given up after 2018, but we did not give up then. We said, okay, this is not the right time, we'll come back again. Then 2019 and 2020, we had our own set of challenges. Only after 2021, 22, when we realized that, yes, there is a transformation happening and the business is picking up well, and there is actually a huge amount of growth that you can see happening in the economy and in the business, that you go and start the attempt all over again. Now, my advice is that there are 2-3 objectives of the IPO. You need to be very clear on what your objectives are. One objective should be either that you are looking for growth, and this is a growth capital, and that with the money that you use it properly for further growth of business. That is one clear objective. Right. The second is that a lot of people might be looking at, and I have seen a lot of IPOs, not from the industry, from other industry, where the promoter has reached an age and is now in a mode of, leverage. Already the system is in place and they want a strategic partner, someone buying out, and some amount of liquidity for the family. So that is one objective in which it is not really a growth, but it is more of maintaining the business and consolidating and things. But the more important objective of the IPO is that your new stakeholders that are coming in, right? The public market at large, the investor community, you must create a situation in which they get returns. Today, every stakeholder is coming with an expectation. The bank is coming to ensure that they get their interest. The government is going to support you, ensuring that you are paying the taxes. The employees will support you, that you pay them on time, the salary and the growth of the company, and the individual growth should be aligned. Similarly, for the investor, it is in returns. So you need to price yourself in a manner that you get the returns. So when we went into the journey, initial level, there were resistance. There were people looking at you suspiciously. But you had to feel it in your mind that, no, I will prove these guys that what they are thinking is wrong and what I'm thinking is right. The industry is not what they are thinking. Because there was like a jewelry industry say, return nahi aata hai. But we all know that the industry has its own strength, potential. We have grown over the years because of the industry. It has given so much to us. So there's no reason why anyone should feel negative about it. So be transparent, share the idea, share the models, share the numbers. So there was a whole lot of detailing. the strong auditors for 10 years, you're having the KPMGs and the Grant Thorntons, having a strong ERP in place, system, processes in place that you can scale up. It's not an issue. Opening a store is like a nothing now. It's all written down, documented. SOPs are there. So it's all those system processes, governance, transparency, it all builds on the confidence. Until 15 days before the IPO happened, I've told it to many of us, there was no investors happening. And that permission from SEBI was about to get expired in the coming 15 days. So, till the last moment, you have to keep on trying and not give up hope. And then suddenly, one or two investors who suddenly decides. So it's like everything falls in place. So our meeting of investors started from September 2022. The filing happened in April 2022. So first is one issue file, then investors ke saath your story will be shared and all. Then they say, okay, chalo, now let's go and start meeting investors. So you go to Bombay, Singapore, here, there. And then people are listening, understanding, okay. Looking at the numbers, there are already established companies who are listed. So they'd start comparing and analyzing and then after September 2022, you refile, they will make you go through certain quarters of audits. Because you are not used to having quarterly audits unless you are a listed company. You are only doing annual audits. So again, you have to start behaving as if you are already listed to be comfortable when you are listed. So you have to start doing quarterly audits because that is a lot of stress on the finance team. Then the compliances that are in place, you have to ensure that that is happening properly. And with all this, you have to go through your quarterfinals, semifinals, and then 15 days before the IPO, it's like the world started helping you. Suddenly, our good friend, Rajesh Bhai, Kalyan Jewellers stock started moving up. The market started doing so well. And everyone started doing well. And you go for the IPO, and you have a good pricing, and that's how it is. Two investors agree. Now they are like a herd effect. Two people agree, then suddenly the fear of missing out happens, FOMO. Then suddenly line laga ke 10 investors, 12, 15, and that's how it happens. So the learning is keep on doing it, don't give up hope, keep at it, but prepare from before, do your system process and all of that, be ready for it, and that's what it is.
So perseverance, that P I was talking about?
Yes.
Okay. We've enjoyed whatever you're saying, but before we, kind of have, it's my last question, and I'll open up to the audience if they want to ask something. Can you share with us what immediately in your mind is a vision? What is the future of Senco in the coming 3 years as you see it? What have you thought about Senco for the next 3 years? And a second question to the same thing is, how do you see the jewelry industry, the way it's evolving? Okay, earlier people were saying brands chalenge, nahi chalenge. Aaj India में 10 national brand हो गए हैं, 20 रीजनल ब्रांड्स हो गए. हर फैमिली ज्वेलर, ट्रेडिशनल फैमिली ज्वेलर से प्रोग्रेसिव ज्वेलर हुआ है. ही इज एमुलेटिंग एग्जैक्टली व्हाट अ ब्रांड इज डूइंग इन हिज 1 store or 2 stores also. Okay, now which means India is also very bullish. So there are two parts to this question. One is Senco. Where do you see Senco in 3 years? And second is what do you see about this industry? How it's going to shape up in the next 3 years?
So see, I'll be a little cautious in my answer here because we just finished our 31st March. And till the results come out, we have to be very conscious on what we are saying and the plan. But at a broad level, I will say in a very subjective way that there is a DNA of growth, that Senco should stand for growth, sustainable growth. It has to be a growth that can go on and on and on, year after year after year. The way one has been growing over the last 15 years, growth should be a part of the journey. That is what philosophically one part that Senco should stand for. Second, I think, is a challenge that the whole industry is facing currently is the lack of leadership and the lack of quality manpower in our industry. Not only as a manufacturer for skilled karigars, that is one part of it, but also in the retail level, in Salesforce, in the management of it. This is a real challenge, and I think that it is all our responsibility to build up the culture of learning and the culture of leading. Managers are managers. They are robots. You will tell them what to do, they will do it. But who will take the sense of ownership and who will be using their mind to say that, okay, this is what we can do to grow the business. So Senco should be also known for its culture of learning, culture of leadership. And I think individually, again, maybe I'm giving a little gyan type of thing, but I think that as an industry, if you follow this philosophies, and we are doing it, through GJEPC also, in terms of reaching out to the global market, marketing ourselves as a brand India and made in India. If we step by step, little improvement. Improvement cannot be overnight. Improvement has to be a continuous process. And I think if we can all follow that today, if we are this, tomorrow, we will improve our system, process, whatever, a little bit. And then that is becoming sustainable also and doable also. Then you'll see after 1 year, you have improved immensely from where you are. So I think these are what Senco should stand for.
Very good. So you summed it up very well. You've connected both of them very well. So there has to be learning and there has to be leadership. So either lead, follow, or get out of the way. Okay.
Right.
So I'm kind of through with my questions. If the audience wants to ask anything, it's open. If we can take a couple of questions, I think.
Hello, sir. This is Akshay Poddar from Shambaju, Calcutta. Like you have expanded so many stores, I always wonder that do we just leave it upon the managers of the individual stores to take care of it, or do you also have any personal intervention of foreseeing if there are any challenges and how to overcome the stock management stuff?
So see, as an owner, you have to be, involved. The level of involvement has to differ from time to time. The priorities needs to change. So when the say IPO process was on, as a owner, I knew that my energy and my focus should be on getting this project done. But once that is done, then you have to shift your priorities and say, okay, now this is what you need to do. So as you keep opening stores, the new stores are like babies. The managers are managers. They need guidance. You might have, various levels of managers, a zonal manager. You will have professionals also running the team and, guiding them. But there has to be like a board. Forget a board. Board is so many people, they are meeting once in a quarter. But as the managing director and as the promoter director, I would say, because who's the biggest stakeholder in the company? It is, suppose you. So you have to ensure that these priorities are implemented by the people who you will keep to get your priorities. So you have to be very clear. Inner core. And inner core ke next level may be, it's called the, step down, step up, blah, 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 because sometimes you can communicate to your core, but that message doesn't percolate down to the ground level. So I would say that you can delegate, and you have to delegate with terms of responsibility and accountability. But time to time, to check whether the work is being done in the correct way or not is your responsibility as the owner. So if you delegate and close your eyes and think that everything is going to happen correctly, there is a 70% chance that it might not happen correctly, 30% chance it's happening as per what you would like to have. So you can have to review, maybe not give your day-to-day details, but the reviewing of numbers is very, very critical.
Thank you. Thank you.
Anybody else? Any questions? I think we can take one if there's somebody. I was waiting. I was pointing at Shailesh Bhai and yeah, Vinod Bhai is putting it up like that.
So Ankar, yes. I worked very closely with your dad for a couple of years, and he was one of the nicest people I have met. And therefore I can also see that a lot of that has transferred to you also. And the way you explained today is, believe me, one of the finest presentations I've got.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
I have a question. Your dad was very, very fondly looking forward to you joining the business, at that point of time. I think I don't know how closely you were with him, but I want to ask you, you mentioned something before, what was your relationship between you and your father between the ages of, say, post-school, 16, 18 years old, till you joined business fully at whatever age? What was that relationship? Was it very close and connected, or, just a dad and son?
No, so I'll tell you, that was I was saying that when you are 6, 7 year old, my father has his own set of struggle. I remember in 1996, I lost my grandfather. So at that point of time, my father was about 39, 40 years old. And then it was all on him. And my grandfather was like, a very nice person but he used to say that, oh, take care of your health, don't take too much stress. It's okay, everything is fine. So why are you, But there was a fire in my father to really grow and do more and more. And then we opened one of our largest showroom in Molali. So there were days in that shop, which was not in the main market, right? In the first year, there were days there were no sales. And it was a 6,000 square feet showroom, which was one of its kind there. And no one at that point of time, 2000, had such big stores in Calcutta. So he used to be, going on Sundays also, doing this, doing that. There were so many challenges, I remember. As you're building up the organization, you're depending on certain people, right? It's a learning process. Some people can not act as per your liking. There could be wrongdoings also. So everything was giving stress, and he was focusing on work. He was a karma yogi. And, I was focusing on my studies, and wherever little bit interaction was needed on Sundays, because he used to come back late at night, 9:30, 10 o'clock. And then in school, I used to study, and then, but he saw me that studying. And there was this, I as a son had this, I think, I'm just sharing it, that there was a need for appreciation. I wanted to get my father's appreciation because he wasn't being able to give so much attention. So I did in my own way, tried to do my best in what I can to take his appreciation. And then I remember in college, I used to, study, go for classes, MBA classes, this classes, that classes. He used to tell me, "Arey, why are you studying so much? Ultimately, though, you have to come to business." But maybe it was somewhere in me that I wanted to, help him and do my best. So when I did my MBA, then I used to have these long conversations. I used to tell him, this is what I'm learning, this is what we can implement in the business, this, that, branding. And he was quite far-sighted. He implemented his own technology, branding, getting the Moon Sens and his daughters, all of that. He had his books, he loved reading books. And I think that culture kept on happening, and I keep reading books also. So on marketing, on this, on that, all of that. So only after MBA, I became closer, and I think I became the closest when we started working together. That is where we could connect, and be like friends. But we were always fighting and arguing because, as fathers, and I am facing through as a father now with my children. And I think as a parent, I think we all need to understand that we have to give space to our children also, and then so that they also feel important, and that's how it is, right?
Well, with that, we come to the end of our session, and I thank you for highlighting a beautiful father-son relationship as out there.
Purposely I sat in the back, Suvankar. Anyway, so when you started talking about the journey, I think I remember a lot of things. I've been there, the last shop, that's where he used to sit. I used to come there. So I know Suvankar probably from when he was wearing shorts. And the beard was not there, only the hair was there that time. And I still remember that right outside his father's cabin was Suvankar's desk. And he would be sitting over there whenever he would come back from college or something like that, and all that thing. But I know your journey. I can answer a lot of questions. But here, yes, your presentation today was par excellence, and what you have done and what you have proven to this industry is unbelievable. That you are not coming from a corporate culture, you are not, having anything, and from where to where you have done this thing, and your IPO, which is now, by the way, we still call it IPO, is a public limited company. So we still address it as IPO. It's not IPO, it's public limited company. So the way that you have done and whatever you have done is fantastic. It's unbelievable. Great achievements.
Thank you, Salisha. Thank you.
I think with that, we come to the end of our session. Thank you so much, Salish Bhai, for that input. And Neerav Bhai, with you out here, please do the honors of handing over a little token of appreciation to both the gentlemen on the dais. We're going to ask you to hold on for a nice picture moment, the three of you together. And then we're going to request all of you to stay in your seats once again. This is a day to be at the Innovate Launchpad. We're looking forward to start off our next session just immediately after this one. So this was the brainchild of the gentleman who's up here actually, Nirav by himself. He came up with this wonderful idea of appreciating young talent. And that's when we had the 40 under 40, the ones who've been handling family business, taking up opportunity and challenges.